Hello, welcome to another episode of Occult Chat. I'm Alex Harper, and I'm joined by Cooper and Hope, as always. Um, hey guys, how's it going? I think this week has been a killer for everyone. It's been crazy, but yeah, we had another cancellation on the show, but we are happy to
I
answer your
know.
questions
Ugh,
anyway. Um,
super bummed
uh,
about that.
They are going to reschedule, I believe. It's just been, well, the astro weather has not been very amenable to trying to get things done. Like we had that
Right.
tiny window, now everything is like kind of going to hell. So, but we shouldn't do, a segment bitching about the show when we're only 6 episodes in, right? Um, it's great to be here. We got a bunch of cool questions, and yeah, we're excited to answer them. I, yeah, I've been going around trying like crazy to get things done at the last minute, get things thrown together. I know my co-hosts have been crazy too, but it's gonna be nice to enjoy kind of a nice Friday evening. All right, so I guess let's just ask first question. It says, how do you get people's birthdays? Do you tell them you're an astrologer and then ask or just casually ask and later look them up? I feel like nowadays, if I ask, it's too obvious that I'm trying to look up their astrology. What's a natural way to ask without scaring them off? Um, I thought this was an interesting question because it kind of speaks to something we were going to talk about on the show tonight with the guest was that, the changing kind of attitudes around magic. And it's like, yeah, all of a sudden, it's like a normal thing for people to be like sus why you're asking them for your birthday. All right. Oh, are you doing it for astrological reasons? I mean, I don't know. I was at the gas station the other day and I overheard people talking about astrology and asking what sign they were, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Capricorn, born right on the
Yeah.
cusp."
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I guess astrology is becoming more and more of a thing. I mean, have you guys encountered this? Have you been like, and people been weird when you're trying to get their birthday for astrology?
Not usually. Most people are excited because you're about to talk about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like people get really excited to give you their birthday. And if anything, they like push it at you. They're like, here, take it.
Mhm.
Take my birth information and read me or read me to filth. That's usually the reaction that I get. But I understand this like sentiment of I really want to see this person's birth chart. And this person may not know the detail I can learn about them. And something about that feels like intrusive. So I have experienced it like from, let's say, this person's perspective, where I'm like, oh, I can learn a lot about this person, and this person may not want that. So, like, should I ask them for their birth information? I don't want to come off weird, but I don't know. Usually people are very consenting and want to know. So I don't know. Do you guys relate to that at all?
I would definitely say that's more similar to my own experience. I've had a couple people who don't want to give it to you, and I think I'm going to give the question asker the benefit of the doubt and say that they're not asking us how to manipulate people into giving you your birth chart information, which is vaguely what the question sounds like there at the end.
Yeah,
Right.
Um, so to that end, I would say if you can't just say what you want it for, don't ask. Like you're being creepy. It's the same way that like if you wouldn't be comfortable asking about someone's job or their sexual history, then you probably shouldn't be hiring them for a job or trying to have sex with them. Like at a certain point, we have to just stop acting like this is totally out of people's like it's a joke on household sitcoms about like girls asking about boys' birth chart. Like it's a thing.
Right.
So the only reason to hide that that's what you're asking for is because you intend to do something duplicitous, right? Like you're trying to be manipulative. You're trying to learn things about them and like control the situation. That's the only reason
Yeah.
I can think of. Like,
Yeah, because there's like a sense of like, yeah, there's like I might be able to manipulate you with this information. Like I might not have that. I might not have that intention, but I know that I could if I had it. And by the way, so Zero Gold is saying that they know some Scorpios who will just ignore you when you ask them for their birthday. In my own experience, it has also been the Scorpios who are least obliging and giving you their birth information, even if they're not into astrology. Like, what it's like, I've even had like paranoid Scorpios being like, they're like, I don't believe in astrology, but like, I don't want to give it to you because I'm
just in
suspicious
case.
of you.
Yeah. Some people just are weird about it. I mean, I don't know. I've had people just refuse to give it to me before, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. They're like, I'm not interested in astrology. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I don't know. I just think if you be open about the fact that you're an astrologer, I mean, I don't know. If people are, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're in this situation a lot, either you're with a lot of really paranoid people, or maybe you seem sus because, like, why is everyone so suspicious to give you their birth chart? I don't know.
But more sincerely, like I'll admit, let's give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. So, like, how would I actually ask someone? I would literally say, I'm an astrologer. Do you want to see your birth chart? And then that's usually all you need to do.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just say, yeah, I do astrology. Do you mind if I take a look at your chart? And they're excited. They're like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds fun.
Mhm.
So
I mean, like, if you wanted to manipulate them, you could say something like, hey, like something about you is just really special.
Oh,
I'd
see,
love
that's
to
the
know why.
LA. That's the
Yeah,
LA in you.
I'm from Los
That's
Angeles. I am an Erewhonian, Korean, Los Angelian girl. And literally the trick is, oh my God, you're so pretty. Like, I need to know what's in your birth charts.
yeah.
not
It-
being a performative male. What?
yeah.
I learned from the best.
It does
Yeah,
work
just
though.
blow smoke up people's asses. That's a great
Yeah, that is
strategy.
the alternative.
Yeah.
You just have such an amazing energy. I want to see into it. But
Yes.
they'll eat it up.
Oh yeah. Okay, moving on. Next question. All right, so this one says, is there a talisman you wish you could make but haven't been able to for some reason? Could include fear or caution too. How would you pacify it if something went wrong? I thought that was an interesting question, and not only in the context of a talisman, which is what they're asking about here, but just more generally, like, is there magic that you wish you could do but you haven't because it's too risky, or you're not able to, and what to do when things go wrong? I don't know. I thought this could be a few things to discuss. I mean, I would say, yeah, there's magic that I would like to do, but don't, because it just seems so crazy. And like, it's just like you can get, there's things that it's easy to get lost in, or once you start doing magic, it's hard to stop sometimes with certain things. And so certain things that you just, you don't get involved with. I know I'm making it sound like, oh, it's like, some drugs or something, like with kids, like, oh, like, stay away, right? Black magic, not even once, right? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like with talismans, I don't know as if there's one that I've wanted to make, but haven't because I'm afraid. I mean, like the ones that I'm afraid of making, I don't want to, I want to make them. You know what I mean? Like they're like those ones I don't want to make them for a reason. So yeah, I don't know, Cooper. What do you think about this question? Hey, let me put it back up on the screen.
Yeah, I think I got distracted reading questions. Yeah, I think I don't understand. Why couldn't I do it? That's where my brain is getting autistically stuck on
Right.
a small part of the question, right? And I think that's maybe the part I'll go off on. I don't know why you couldn't, right? It wouldn't would be the thing, right? So like fear or caution. So how would
Yeah.
I pacify it if something went wrong? Well, like sort of arrogantly, I wouldn't do something I didn't know how to control. At this point in my big old age. At other points in life, okay. Now I'm going to say some hot, takey stuff. I just don't understand how you could fuck a talisman up that badly. Like, really, you'd have to go out of your way. You'd have to be doing some kind of grim conjuration to be like worrisome. My biggest fear with the talisman is that it's just not going to work, right?
Yeah.
So to that end, with a
Right.
talisman, I would. That tends to be more my like if I'm not going to do something, it's because like XYZ aspects that need to be in position are not, or it's. I'm trying to think of a time where like I would have stayed my hand because like the consequence. All magic is like dangerous. All magic has consequences. You are always putting your hand in fire. You know, most of the time, do you get seriously burned? No, but there is always that risk. You know, even I talk about astrology a lot as like I think the lowest form of magic, and so like astrological magics I think are fine, but in terms of like the intensity of the energy, when I say lower level, that's what I mean. Is it's you're dealing with reflections of reflected energy, right? That's part of the beauty of astrology and why I think it tends to be one of the more accurate forms of divination, is because you are a little bit more removed from what you're looking at, and I think that does give you a better vantage point. But when we're talking magically, it's the opposite benefit, right? We want something really close and intense, and the stars are by their very nature distant from us. And so part of the reason that I would encourage people to do like materia and things like that and make talismans, especially if early on or if you're not very confident in yourself, is because they're the easiest to fix. Like break it. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, just get rid of it. Yeah. Destroy it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah, I know. I never thought about it that way. Like, you can't really fuck up a talisman. The worst thing that could happen is it just doesn't work. Because it's, yeah, that's because like, that actually some of the first magic that I did was consecrating accessories. So I would find a really good Venus election and I would take a necklace and just kind of intuitively do whatever felt right. And I felt like it always captured the energy. And for me, um, in terms of like, oh, where did I go wrong? It wouldn't be about like, oh, it's not having the desired effect. It was more about, oh, the desired effect isn't as strong as I wanted it to be. Like the desired effect goes into it if you understand astrology and you understand what's happening to the planet, let's say, that you want to capture into the item. So because I think I understood how like Mercury should behave right now, would be behaving right now, and what the energy of Mercury could bring to me, or with Venus, it would always go in the way that I pretty much thought it would, but it was always a matter of how strong was it. So That was how I measured like how well I did the magic, was by how like intense the feeling of that planet was. And I think I like later on started to learn that like, oh, maybe like intensity isn't quite how you should measure like whether Venus magic was successful, right? Like creating a Venus talisman was successful. Just by nature of the planets, like a Mars talisman is going to be stronger, quote unquote, than like a Venus talisman. But yeah, I resonate with what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, there are stories of people that have had cursed talismans and stuff like that. Ryan Butler from Medieval Astrology Guide likes to talk about that, about people that have come to him with cursed talismans, and he's had to take them off their hands and dispose of them and stuff.
Really interesting. Do you
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
it was like intentionally cursed, those talismans?
No, it's like, I mean, he's shown some of the elections, they're bad, like where it's like, it's like a Venus talisman with the moon's like applying to Saturn, and it's like,
Right.
yeah.
Why would you do that? That's so awful.
I'm not suffering enough. I need to make sure that shit hits hard. Basic fucking rules, guys.
Oh.
Okay.
So, yeah. There's a question. It says, do you think the Epstein stuff, they were trying to commit magic with some of the stuff they were doing?
That's what it was. I thought you were bleeping out Eastern, and I was like, why the fuck are you trying to hide the
Easter? You didn't read Epstein right away when you saw that?
Nope, I thought Eastern, and I just thought there was a letter missing.
Well, the
you know
thing
what?
is
God
that
bless
if
you,
it was
Cooper.
going to be
God
Epstein,
bless you. That
I
the
also
word
thought
you didn't see was Epstein.
I also thought Eastern at first, but it's because
really?
Yeah, it's because there should be two asterisks in between
You're
the T
right.
and the N.
You're right.
The T and the N, there should be two. So
yet somehow I knew that Yuzuru Gold was talking about Epstein.
Well, to answer the question, yes, obviously. We covered, I mean, you might not have been on that one where I was yapping about that, but yes.
Yeah.
Can we yap a little bit about that?
I mean,
who wants to go?
I actually don't know too much about the magic. I just know that they have that temple and has a lot of occult iconography and statues and stuff. So
yeah, and then I don't know, there's like all of the the child stuff and the rituals and I mean, the thing that is really suspicious with Epstein and the Clintons is the whole Haiti and all of the missing children from Haiti and places like that.
I don't know actually. Like, can you elaborate?
So yeah, there's been these ties uncovered between Epstein and the Clintons and Huma Abedin and these Haiti relief organizations, and there's a lot of allegations of human trafficking taking place under the guise of like charities, things like that. So they go to like a place where there's a disaster where people are like expected to be dead already, a perfect place to get human sacrifice victims that no one's gonna go looking for because they're already dead in the earthquake. Really.
Oh wow.
Write it off like that.
What?
So that's kind of like the allegation that takes place, right?
Well, and just as to pause, because I think that moment beleaguered some disbelief here. We can like take the E name off of this, right, and talk about like prostitution rings and that level of trafficking. And these are well-established practices and have been for thousands of years, right? Like going to a conflict zone to take women and children for sex work is older than the Roman Empire, for sure. Like we have, it's not new. So when people are like, oh my God, I can't imagine, like, that's just because thankfully you have not experienced those things and don't dig around in those parts of history, but it's so commonplace that like, and I forget the Roman term, but it referred to the well-known practice of once you were taken into this kind of sex slavery, you were going to get taken on a boat with a bunch of pirates and brought back. And during that voyage, you were going to be prepared. And so it's like a joke. You know, like we talk about men getting raped in prison is like hee hee ha ha. Romans would have talked about you're going to go on a boat with a bunch of pirates and get raped for months so that you can become a good hooker. Like, and now they do it with drugs and stuff like that. So they're going to drug you, and then you're addicted to the drugs, and so you keep going back to the pimp. So even if law enforcement does try it, like you get that miracle good cop who doesn't really exist anywhere outside of movies, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to help you get off the streets," and whatever. You're addicted to a lot of drugs, and the only place you can get them is from the person who's trafficking you. So add to that an immense amount of political power. Like we're not talking about coyotes working and like the rough guy on your block. We're talking about people who have institutional power. It should never, ever, ever shock anyone that people with power can do more evil things than people without power do. So if we know people without power are doing that kind of shit, people with power must be doing something worse. It's just certain. Yeah. So yeah, 100% that happens all the time. And it's silly to me that people are shocked by that. I forget that people don't automatically hear about like humanitarian aid organizations and go, oh, right, exactly, Chris. Considered spoils of war. To this day, they still are, right? Like soldiers going through and raping women, like American soldiers raped a lot of Nazis, a lot of them.
I mean,
less than
Vietnam,
the Russians.
you know, that
less
happened.
Than the Russians. Yeah,
like
it happened
in the most recent war. It happened in Afghanistan and Iraq and all of that.
It's happening in Israel right now.
Every war. Yeah. Every war. I mean,
then to back to the continuing elements here of the link to the Clintons, because if you don't know, they were smuggling drugs for the CIA long before Clinton ever became president. That's how he became president, as he was running drugs through Arkansas airports for the CIA so they could fly their coke into the country and then sell it on the black market. That's why Bill Clinton is president. So
you hear it here, folks. Occult Chat. Clinton became president because he was.
Oh, that's well documented.
Well, there's
it's like well known.
That's so crazy. I had no idea.
That's
also, and I feel like I'm deep in conspiracy theory, like YouTube algorithms, and I've never come across that.
So there's the case of Don Henry and Kevin Ives, who were two Arkansas teenagers who were killed, and then their bodies were placed on the railroad tracks, right? And then the train comes and runs them over, and there was this big controversy with the medical examiner that the family fought to get it re-examined, and then they completely disagreed with the initial findings that the government had and said like, oh, these kids were dead before they were even placed on the train tracks. The initial media story with this was that they were high on weed and didn't hear the train coming. All right. Now the conspiracy is that these two teenagers were a witness to drug transactions taking place that the police were doing under Clinton's say so. So yeah, that's the rabbit hole you want to go down if you're curious about the Clintons and drug dealing in the 1980s.
Well, so just going back to the question though, we're like 30 minutes deep in, and I think we got through maybe one question, but just to get back to that question though that Zero Gold said, the magic involved with the Epstein trafficking circle. Yeah, what do you guys know about that?
I mean, we've all seen the videos that Alex Jones took at Bohemian Grove, and we know the kind of rituals that they're, into.
We have to be doing it, right? I mean,
I also think there's something to be said about truly skilled magicians have you doing magic when you don't know it's magic, right? Like that's the best and most powerful kind of magic. So there's a trick to that is often used in these kinds of like elite control circles, right? Which is, and again, you don't have to be super conspiratorial here. We could take it to something that happens on every college campus across the country, right? So in fraternities and sororities, a big part of the joining process is rushing, right? So you're going to go through a bunch of rituals, and then once you go through those sets of rituals, you're going to go through further sets of rituals, and then you're going to go through another set of rituals. Now, how many of those people actually believe in the magic they're doing multiple times a year, right? Like my frat brother friends, they would invoke Apollo every year, and that was part of their fraternity's bullshit. Did they believe that's what they were really doing? I don't know. Were they doing that? Maybe, probably, certainly. But more importantly, the actual magic being worked behind that ritual is taking place, right? They are members of these sex cartels. They are indebted into these systems. They are deep believers of it. They are in it because they did the goofy magic stuff. The other goofy ritual things that we don't think of as magical, but are like a philanthropy, which is just a social event with a fake, well, it's not a fake cause. Usually it's a real cause, but we do sometimes overt occult rituals and think of that as being big magic. In my experience, especially as you get into this, the rituals stop mattering a lot. And it's so much more about the participation and the scene you create with the ritual. So do I believe that these people were doing most of what we have evidence of? Yeah, 100%, no question. Do I think they were doing those acts for magical purposes? Probably not. Some of them, maybe. The reality of it is there is no magical function in like fucking a baby. There just isn't. Sorry. Like short of just like
I think it's like,
abhorrent violence, right? Like that's
a lot of that stuff is like people just want to be terrible, and so they make up. They're like, all
yeah,
right, well, this must
that's
have
it.
magic power because I want
Is
to
it's
do horrible
human
things.
depravity.
Yeah,
Much more than it has anything to do with magic. It's people who have a near limitless and unchallenged power will always want to exert that power. That's the danger of having power on a magical level and a mundane one, right? Is if you have power, you will use it because power is meant to be used. And so when you have that much power and that much control over people, and you can do it and get away with it, and then use that as leverage over other people, it doesn't take a big leap of the imagination to think that's happening. I think when we talk about it on a magical level, the magics are so much more obvious. Like the magic of pretending there's anything there, that there are political parties in the United States that matter. Like that is a magical spell put over the American people. Like that, it really does take magical effort. But this is for pleasure. This is for fun. It is for a
sport.
Psychological. Yeah, sport is a great way to say it. It is for sport.
It's like a club. It's it's a big club,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like their little. This is their. Some people, like to get together for book clubs. Other people like to get together, to have poker nights. These people like to get together for, Marquis de Sade adjacent activity. Probably worse than Marquis de Sade. Yeah, I don't know. Here's this question. I don't know if I really want to talk about this too much. It says, can you talk about eclipse magic and how it's changed your life? So, I mean,
is this to me? Because I remember talking about eclipse magic that I've done that changed my life. Did this question come in when
could
you
be
were
for any of us. I mean, I think we've all done eclipse magic, but
that's true. Yeah, I'm sure we all have. I can talk about mine. because I had said that I would before. And I was always meaning to, but I just forgot, honestly. So for me, I did I did magic. So the first and only time that I've done magic during an eclipse was actually during the lunar eclipse in Virgo last year. It was in September of 2025. And I have been suffering from anxiety since like my mid 20s. And it's when you have like bad anxiety, it can ruin all the little good moments. You know, it really prevents you from enjoying the little things in life. And it really got to a point where I would be on my way into work, just commuting my way into work, and think and just be like depressed and crying on the train because I just couldn't stop ruminating and overthinking things in my life. So the eclipse magic that I did was to get rid of my rumination. And doing magic on an eclipse is very trippy. It was the first time that I felt like possessed. I don't think I've ever really felt possessed before. I've gone into trance states when I did magic, but
Now, when you
never
say
really
possessed, do you mean by like an actual entity or just like with the energy?
with right. What I could
Because
make of
people
it
are good, yeah.
Well, what I could make of it was that it felt like the way that I intuitively feel what happened was that my higher self came into my body. That's what I feel like happened because I felt like my mind. This is gonna sound so fucking woo, but I felt like my frequency elevated, and I really don't know how else to best explain it. It was just like my brain felt like lifted, and as if there was more space in my brain. And I also kind of felt like, oh, it feels good to be in this body. Like, let me take over for a little bit. Let me just take the reins for just a little bit and see how that goes. And I during like when I cast a circle, I do something really similar to Alex, where I banish any spirits that won't obey me and that aren't going to listen to me. And during that step, I could tell that those intruder spirits were actually listening to me and were like, "Oh shit, I gotta get out of here." And it was the first time I ever felt that way during a ritual. And yeah, it was a really simple ritual. I just, I cast a circle, wrote down what I wanted, which was essentially to stop ruminating over stupid bullshit. And I burnt it outside and freaked myself out because it was during a really, really dry season, and was able to put the fire out. And yeah, my rumination has gone away, I would say, significantly. I don't think I've ruminated in quite a while. Maybe like here and there, but not near as much as I used to. And yeah, the quality of my life's like improved significantly. Like I can't even I know people who have gone on Lexapro because of the same problem that I have. And, Lexapro did solve their problem, but magic also solved it for me too. So that's how eclipse magic changed my life. And that was really recent.
Yeah. Now, we don't necessarily want to recommend, just writing things on paper and burning it as a complete replacement for psychiatry.
Don't listen
but
to me.
It probably is
yeah.
basically a replacement for psychiatry, right? If we're being honest. All right.
I do not co-sign that statement.
I joke.
I know. I'm saying it for the record.
I should say that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing is people always say, "Oh, don't do magic on the eclipse." I feel like that one of the reasons is because if you do it on the eclipse, then you get like sucked into doing it on all the eclipses, right? There's like the things, circumstances
I know you always
conspire. Yeah, because I did it on the eclipse on accident and not really paying attention, and then I've noticed like I always am involved in some kind of magic thing around the eclipses now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why people warn against it. But it's fun. I mean, always the magic that comes during the eclipse is always good. It's always for like, it's always to bring me forward and you know, progress or learn something else, integrate more. You know, it's like it's always it's not magic that ends up being like if I do try and do any kind of like selfish magic or magic that's like not really aligned with what's best for me and the collective, then it doesn't really, then that can backfire on you, right? Doing trying to do that kind of magic, but um, I don't know. I think eclipse magic maybe it's an acquired taste, right? Maybe it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I
Okay.
tend to be more on the don't go whitewater rafting if you don't know how to go whitewater rafting.
Yeah,
Like it's a lot
that's
of fun.
true.
Um, is it as dangerous as people say it is? No. Do you need to know what you're doing? Yeah. Um, I think eclipses are a little overhyped. But more to your point, Alex, I think if you're if the goal of the magic is inversion, then great. Um, anything else, I would point to the eclipse as like detrimental.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to like manifest something directly as opposed to like force it to be a different thing. Yeah, that would be more my caution about the eclipse is that it's a powerful time and it goes in one direction and you are not going to change the direction it's going in.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you're either along for the ride or not.
I
Well,
co-sign that entirely.
I was going to say once
Completely.
you start, you're on for the ride.
Yeah.
It's an avalanche, baby. You better hope
Yeah.
you're a snowboarder.
Well, actually, I think you guys are right about that because the first time I did eclipse magic was with you, Alex, when I visited you in where you live, and
Mm.
I fucking did magic again
Mhm.
on the next eclipse season. But I don't. But I think both times it's been, um, yeah. I mean, towards the direction that I want. So I think yeah, I would advise like being really really careful about what it is that you're trying to do,
Yeah.
because you can't. It's harder to undo.
Yeah, you're basically saying like, you're actively claiming the karma and trying to transmute it more. You know what I mean? You're like
Mhm.
you're embracing that. You're leaning into that force. And so, if you don't already like eclipses, then maybe you shouldn't try like, the eclipse plus.
That's true. That's true. I do think there is something to be said about like perhaps the condition of the nodes in your own birth chart. I can't like say that this is absolutely true, but it seems like I think if it's a combination of like how is this eclipse affecting your own birth chart and what are the conditions of your own nodes, like that should probably give you some good information about like how eclipse magic could go for you or how that specific ritual would go for you.
Mm. And let's you
Yeah,
guys
let's go
want
on
to
to the
move on to
next
the next
one.
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. How do
How
you
do you
sever? Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
How do you sever yourself from a betraying powerful friend you made a blood pact with? Whoa. Yeah, this is a Cooper
You probably
question.
need to get someone else involved, right? So, like, if it's a blood pact, then you probably need somebody else. It'd be a lot easier if you get another magician involved to try to, But I don't even know if you can get out of it. I mean, like you basically
Super.
Can you? Sure.
yeah.
A bond made with blood can only be broken by blood. So, are you going to kill the person? Are you going to fight?
Mm.
Do you actually have fucking hands? Because if not, I'd figure out another route. I mean, this is why we don't do blood magic with other people, right? And obviously, it's after the fact. But yeah, what do you want? You used the strongest form of magic there is. Congrats. You got what you wanted. You're together forever. Yeah, that's the point. That's why it's the most powerful form. It's there's no, you don't get to go back with blood. You can walk back a lot of stuff in magic, but not blood.
Cooper, you have like the most like Capricorn attitude. I just like, it cracks me up. I love it. I eat it up. You are such a Capricorn.
Loud.
Yeah, your cat food is loud.
Someone says it's Venus Day, Venus Hour right now on the West Coast. Hey, West Coast.
Hey, Venus Day, Venus Hour.
So I can yap about this point magically if we want a little bit. The way that I would think about this to the person, right? Because obviously you're feeling rough about that connection. The way that I would think about any type of blood magic when you do with someone is, imagine now that you have a child, right? You made a baby. You can get a divorce all you want. You can completely cut that person out. You can never ever, you can actively harm that person. That connection does not disappear. It doesn't go away. And 1,000 years from now, if you are remembered, it most likely will be by the descendants of that person you had the baby with, right? They're going to look at some archaeological or what is it, ancestral record, what's the word I'm looking for, genealogical, there we go. They're going to look at that and they're going to see that you fucked that person 1,000 years ago, and their kid then went on to go and fucking make more babies, and that's probably how you'll be remembered. That's the reality for most humans, right? And a lot of us have kids with people we wish we didn't have kids with, and we find out that they are not the people we thought they were, and we work very hard to sever those ties. But really what you do is you work very hard to create distance, because even if you kill your child, you're still tied to that person, right? The child still existed. Once blood gets mixed, there is no unmixing it. And so I know, in the last episode I talked about, like, yeah, I use blood magic. It's powerful, but that's why it's powerful, is there's no unmixing it. There's no changing it. If you've really gone and done that magically, the end is there for the karma is there forever, right? There you go. The only one of you has to stop existing within the karmic cycle. So figure that out. Hopefully you choose enlightenment, but you could destroy yourself and enter the abyss if you want. Don't fuck around with blood magic, people. Straight to camera.
That sounds like kind of a beautiful like origin story for like a spiritual romance novel.
Oh,
like
you need to watch Bugasali. I am tired of recommending
Bugasali?
all these damn Bugasali. I'm tired of recommending all these shows and you don't watch them, because the whole
I do. What do you mean?
Actually, you do.
What do you
mean? I watched like 2 of them at this point.
Okay, but in my imagination, as soon as this call ends, you jump online and binge watch them, right? That's the kind of enthusiasm I like to imagine. But yes, that is, so it's this South Korean show. It's so good. And basically the premise is, across lives, these 2 like lovers, maybe, question mark, like maybe they've killed each other, maybe they're trying to destroy each other, maybe he's a cursed evil demon. Oh, how do you spell it? Oh, that's a good question. Let's Google it.
I thank you for asking that too, because I'm also trying to figure out how to spell this.
So Bulgasal. Bugasal.
Pulgasari. Oh, wait, I've heard of this.
It's so good. But in the show, they always keep saying Bugasari. And I'm like, why do you keep adding that E on there? I don't know anything about the Korean language, for the record.
Oh my god, I am obsessed with this actor. Are you kidding me?
Oh, and
I love
he
him.
delivers on that performance.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't like straight romances. I'm going to put that out there. For straight people to get me to support them, it's got to be good. Oh, I was in it.
The chemistry must be.
Episode 1. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
All
They
of
must
you need
have
to watch.
amazing chemistry for you to be like, yeah, this is good.
They do. And of course, I watched Jujutsu Kaisen. It's throwing yourself into the abyss like being in a K-hole. Kind of. That's like a decent
approximation.
Like I think drugs are very useful sometimes for magic. Mushrooms are great if you want to talk to spirits. And acid is great to deal with you and get into your mind palace. And then ketamine is what you use in case, you need to blow your brains out. Magically or, spiritually, not physically.
Okay.
I wish I could go into a K-hole. It's been a while.
That shit's so relatable.
All right. Do you have any suggestions? First person work with Mercury or Hermes? Those are two very different things. Would be my response immediately.
I mean, so I guess it's like work with, like, what does that really mean? I mean, do you want to invoke Mercury or do you want to just like get in touch with Mercury, like channel Mercury? You want to, and what's the aim of this? Is this just remediate Mercury? Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot. I guess I would ask, like, what do you want? Right? What do you want out of it? Why do you want to bother with Mercury in the first place? I don't know if the person that asked this question is watching, but if you could, like, why do you want to work with Mercury?
I also think it's worth drawing the line again. Hermes is not Mercury. There are two different things. They're very, very similar. You could even make the argument that Hermes is an aspect of Mercury or has aspects of Mercury, but they're not the same thing. And so immediately and echoing Alex's, well, this sounds confused. It sounds confused. Because a planet is neutral. It's a good way to say it. If you do the thing you're supposed to do the way you're supposed to do it, the planets will respond, right? Like they're more like natural physics than spirits, especially gods. So Hermes is gonna do whatever the fuck he wants. Hermes is also not Mercury. Like even the Roman god Mercury is not Hermes. They are similar at times. They're used interchangeably, but also at times they're used very distinctly. There are reasons for that. And so I think my advice would always be focus on the purpose and then look for the right powers that align with it rather than picking a power and saying, well, what can I do with this? Like, again, echoing your question, Alex, like why this and why both of those names treated as if they're interchangeable, because they're not, and the outcomes will be very different. Yuzuru in the chat's like, could you use Mercury to get invites and love confessions from people? Maybe. So this is where I would say, no, you should leave Mercury at home and you should call on Hermes, because he would be very good at both of those things. I often, the way I've read about it in the book is that the planetary powers are more like, in my estimation, are more comparable to like elements on the periodic table than they are to anything else, right? That Mercury to me is a property of the universe when I talk about it, the planet Mercury or the planet Venus. And I want to be very clear, that's a Cooper take on this, not the correct take on this. And so to me, when you go to those, you're kind of like, you're going to the natural physics of it, right? Like if I put a plate, I can't think of the electroplating, right? Like that's magic to me, right? It's a chemistry, it's a physics experiment. Planetary magic often feels like that. Evoking a god is a completely different thing. That is hiring someone to build a nuclear bomb for you versus, the planetary magic of like building the bomb yourself. To that end, I tend to think spirits are much better, especially if you want to get something done. Planets are very good at allowing you to do something, or creating circumstances, but like actually getting it done, I'd always go to a spirit. So then that again goes to well, do you want Mercury or do you want Hermes? Could you use Mercury as an abstracted entity? Certainly. I think you run into the problems that there are gods by those names already, right? So you're using a name that already has a lot of names and a lot of meanings. To Chris's point, the sinful gaze, yes, but you also learn magic from me, so your understanding of the planets as powers would be in line with that. So yeah, correct. That's a good way to do it. If you're struggling to
So
find
this
focus,
person
does Mercury
says,
help with
yeah.
that? No.
So-
I mean, kinda. No would be my answer. You guys jump in though.
I would say no too. I mean, I feel like any Mercury magic that I've done never helped me focus, but that could just be because of the type of daemon that was contacted for that magic. Because I love Sphere and Sundry. I think that their magic is great. But I have some of their Mercury in Virgo magic. And if anything, it makes it, I can like laser focus for like 30 minutes. And then I'm ADHD like all over. And I'm not generally a very like I don't have ADHD as a person. I don't get that distracted by things. I have a pretty strong ability to focus on a task and get it done. But when I do Mercury magic, I feel like I can't. It doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't help me to focus, but I don't know if that's like unique to me or if that's kind of how it is.
I feel like it kind of makes you a little more intuitive rather than analytical. And it promotes like this synaptic kind of thinking, this like jumping to conclusions. You'll like, instead of following proposition A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you'll skip it. You'll go A, D, G.
Yeah.
Right? And, Mercury's helpful for doing that, but you're not going to get the cohesive A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're going to get A, D, G. All right. So Mercury gets you to the end faster and it can help with your intuition, point you in the right direction. But in terms of like breaking it down, if you start doing Mercury magic, that's not going to help you.
Yeah. I tend to find it's a distracting energy. But in a different way than like, so for focus, I would probably go to Mars, right? So to answer the inverse question here, like what would be a good place to go for focus? That probably want to depend on your chart a little bit, right? If you've got Mercury in Capricorn, yeah, maybe then Mercury probably is a little more diligent. But even then, I don't think so. I think you just come up with a bunch of business plans you don't follow through on.
It's like being on coke.
Yeah, that's very much how Mercury feels. In a productive way.
I would say that if you want to help with like focus, this might be a controversial one to throw in there. It's Rahu. I have a Rahu talisman, and it's great for focus. Let me just tell you, it's really, really good for focus and getting things done. because there's something about like I need to I can't quite explain it, but Rahu is what helps me to get shit done, and a lot of it.
Rahu is great for research and like learning, any kind of like piecing together information. Rahu's like a detective kind of energy, like getting to the bottom of stuff and seeing where the lies and the inconsistencies and the smoke, right? So yeah, if you just say the Rahu mantras and I think your mental clarity will increase.
I would go with the malefics, whichever one is more helpful to you in that context. So, like, I have Mars sextile my moon. So, Mars is very, very helpful for getting me to focus and calming down. And I do have ADHD. So, I have Aries, Mercury, it's pronounced. And leading into Mars for focus and discipline has been particularly useful.
All right, that comment's funny.
I don't get it. What do you mean by? What does he mean by?
And
What do you
she's like spying on her boyfriend and like trying to piece together the conspiracy of the girl he's talking to.
Mm-hmm. See, in that case, Mercury is who you should be going to because she loves a good investigation. Amusingly, like if I were to think about it, Sherlock Holmes strikes me as a very Mercury kind of character arc, like of the more modern characters, where he's brilliant, right? Like he catches a lot of detail, like very observant, kind of a prick, lots of problems, can't really handle things, is always good and bad. I think with Mercury, especially the planetary Mercury, right? It is never one thing. It is always two things. And so you have to be careful, right? So if you ask Mercury for focus, you're going to be hyper focused. If you ask Mercury for insight, to Alex's point, you will have a brilliant insight, but you won't necessarily get all of the logical propositions you need to explain that insight to other people. Mercury is always in the middle. He is always this and that. It is never one or the other. And so gods like Mercury, where I would maybe want to go with like Hermes, maybe, that's where you're going to get more of like helpful messenger god. Like that's where that comes from. I think sometimes we get a little bit too, we forget that planets are not the gods, and the planets come before the gods for which they are named, right? Like all of the Greek and Roman gods come after these planets and their roles have been designated. So Mercury is not Hermes. Mercury is not Mercury. Mercury is its own thing. And the gods Mercury, the gods Hermes, like those various forms, are great for intelligence, great for test taking. I got in trouble in college. It's one of my most bitter and angry things ever. I took an ancient Greek culture class. And so it was like really old school history lecture, right? Where all we do is just listen to this guy talk. And then we write 2 papers in the lecture hall, and that's the class. And so I was devastated when he said that I got my paper wrong on worshiping the gods, because it was the prompt was, you are a Roman citizen and you are going to take a history test and you're going to go to the temple and perform a ritual to help ensure you get a good test grade. What ritual do you perform and how do you perform it? And I got a fucking C on this paper because I directly petitioned the muse of history, Cleo, instead of petitioning Apollo to send me the muse, Cleo. And so I got a C on the paper, even though I very accurately and correctly described the ritual for Cleo.
I didn't know you went to Hogwarts, Cooper. This is crazy. This is news to me.
History departments, friends. That is where magic has been taught and has continued to be taught for thousands of years. History.
I never got my owl.
Take history classes. Legitimately, that was a test question. And so I got it wrong because I petitioned a lower entity rather than the higher entity, which would then send the lower entity to me. and I worshipped a female entity, so I sacrificed the wrong color cow. It was a whole thing. But I'm still angry about it if you can't hear. And I will admit,
yeah, we could hear.
I'm so angry. I'm like so. It took me forever to find the muse of history. Do you know how hard I had to work for that?
That sounds hard. No, it does. It's like very nuanced. It's all in the details for this paper. It sounds.
He was
like
a great teacher in that way, but such a dick. So I got a C on that paper, which really pissed me off, and he would not let me retake it.
That sucks.
But to the point of all of this, a lot of the other people in the class failed because they petitioned the wrong version of the god. So like they would go to Apollo of light instead of Apollo of knowledge, or they would like, oh, I'm going to go to the Temple of Delphi and petition Apollo there. And the professor was like, first of all, you can't afford a trip to Delphi. You're a university student back in like 480. So probably you didn't. But even then, that wouldn't make sense because that's an oracular Apollo. That is not do good in school Apollo, who exists. There is that god, and you should go to that version of that god. So I as much as I hate that I did poorly on that exam, I learned a lot, and it forced me to really reconcile with some of my own incorrect assumptions about polytheism and how the gods work and how these spirits work, and the difference between like Venus of venereal disease and Venus of the sewers and Venus of a good shit and Venus of a good fuck and Venus of healthy childbirth and Venus of love and Venus of a good night out with the girls. Like they're all Venus and they are all completely separate goddesses. And kind of hammering this point again.
Yeah.
So who is Hermes? Which Hermes? They always have epithets. They always have multiple names. I'm not joking when I say Venus of venereal disease. That is a version of Venus. Venus of the sewers was one of the most popular forms of Venus. And if you think about it, that makes sense. Have you ever really been constipated before? It's brutal. And we're talking about what, like 300 AD, 300 BCE. Life is rough. Okay,
so
you're not getting a lot of
praying to Venus. Yeah.
So having a bowel movement.
Come on, let it. Oh my god, I can't.
Yeah, like please, Venus, just let me shit and let my shit go down the sewer grate and roll far enough away from my house that I don't smell it anymore, because underground sewage wasn't often a thing, right? Like they had a shit canal down the street that everybody would shovel their shit into. Like life was gross for most of human history, especially in Europe. So to hammer home the point that I've already hammered home 8 times, you are always better off. And it's, if you've ever read a spell I've written or a ritual I've done, you'll find that the first thing I'm going to do is like 5, I mean, it might even be like 8 lines of Persephone who walks with the mortals, Persephone who rises with the dawn, Persephone who is the spring, Persephone who is the goddess of the underworld, Persephone who is the queen of the dead, Persephone who is this, Persephone who is that. I'm being very specific and drawing out a very specific form of the entity that I want to interact with, because Persephone or any god or any entity is so much more than anything, right? So the moment you invoke it, the moment you engage with them, you're no longer actually engaging with the god, you're engaging with a god being, right? Or a manifestation of them, an avatar of them or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Which version shows up depends on which version you called for. And if you're not being specific, you're gonna get whatever version wants to show up, and it's usually the shittiest versions. Usually, not always, but usually.
Can I tell quickly a like really weird experience I had last night with the planets? I was on the phone with Alex. So Alex, you know what I'm about to say, but I had this. I was in like a daze. I can't remember what exactly it was. I think I might have been really tired or something. And did you ever have that dream, like that fever dream as a child, where there's this ball and it's so immensely big, but it's also so small at the same time, and it just keeps getting really big and really small, and it's the compression of it just like is overwhelming and uncomfortable. And then as soon as it compresses, it gets really big, and then it's both gigantic and minuscule. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I've done acid, yeah.
No. No.
Yeah, I know. Like, I know what you mean. I've had an
Okay.
hallucinatory experience. Like,
Okay. Okay.
that
Wait. Yeah. Wait.
specific one, no, but yeah, I've been there.
Okay. So that's what it felt like. I felt like I could see these like beings, like all standing side by side, and their like hands are kind of touching, and I just knew. I felt like it was the planets, but like the beings of the planets. I don't even know how to describe it, but
Mhm.
it was that same fever dream sensation where instead of like being really really big and really really small, it was like really 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 far away yet really 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 close, and that sensation was so overwhelming and I was getting really uncomfortable. And I remember like Alex, like I was like audibly uncomfortable like on the phone, right? It was so overwhelming. And I think that's what they mean when they say like you don't want to deal with the planet themselves. Like, you know, we should be grateful that they're sending down their daemon or their avatar, because
I was gonna say, do they do teach that, right? I started practicing astrological magic when I was in 6th grade, so it's been a long time since I picked up a baby's first astrology book.
yeah,
They
I
do
don't think
tell you
they teach that.
tell you all that, right? That
I
you
mean,
should petition Jupiter to send a daemon, not petition Jupiter directly.
I haven't heard that.
Jesus fucking.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do.
That's astrological magic. No, like, do the children not read the texts?
I took an online class on theurgy.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it was really, really, really intense.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
This is best magic book for self-development.
Beyond the Horizon: A Seeker's Guide to Meaning, Magic, and Mystery by Cooper Henkel. That's
Yeah,
the
Cooper
best
has a
book.
great book. Cooper has a great book.
Specifically for self-development, actually, if we're being serious. The book is a good magical primer, but it's much more about the philosophy of living life as a magical practitioner than I think it is about like this is how you do magic, right? Like
Yeah,
that's in there for sure. But my point is you need to think about this and what it's supposed to do and the dangers and the beauty of it. There's a culture to it, and it's a culture that has been whittled away at over the last couple centuries. And so I do think in that sense, my book is genuinely worth reading, as it is a good primer to what I think is a good magical culture, and will introduce you to a lot of other texts that you should go read. But if I was to pick a book that isn't mine, what would I pick? The Phenomenology of Spirit? See, this is why I'm Elements of Theology, probably you should read.
I mean, In Search of the Miraculous by P.D. Ouspensky. That's kind of not magic explicitly, but it's like the self-development stuff that you're after. That'll get you there.
Self-development, huh?
I always recommend Rudolf Steiner, How to Know Higher Worlds, and
Rudolf Steiner. There are audio readings, like audio books of Rudolf Steiner on YouTube. It's read by a lovely British man. Maybe it's AI generated, I don't know, but it's very calming, and I used to sleep to that. But yeah, it's online, free.
Yeah. I think you should just like, you're gonna like go down and read so many different books about magic. It's just best advice, just get a wide, just, start somewhere, but don't stop, right? Look into other things, right? Go down the rabbit hole. And oftentimes, you don't have to read you don't have to go through the entire thing in order to know what if you're interested in reading more about it or not, right? Like, you know, a lot of times you can find previews on books online and stuff, and just check things out, see what piques your interest. I think you find the magic books you discover like on a lark can be, you know, right what you need when you need them.
I also think, maybe controversially here, I think people read too many magic books. Um,
Don't do
I
it.
really need you all to read a book on physics. That's what I need. I need you to read a couple history books. I need you all to read some philosophy, because magic isn't that complicated. It really isn't. Like if you've read one or two books on magic, you've got the gist. The problem is that you don't have the thinking behind it. You don't have the logic. You don't have the meaning. And so I've sometimes people will be like, yeah, I've read like 30 books on magic and I still don't feel like I'm ready to practice. And I was like, oh, then you never will. I read one. Well, actually, I practiced magic before I read books. I couldn't read, right? But like, I think it's
What?
absurd. Yeah.
How do
There's
you?
armchair
How do you?
magicians are a very real problem in this place.
That's
Most
so
of the folks on
crazy.
Twitter and shit like that, armchair magicians. They've never fucking practiced in their life. And if they have, it didn't work.
That's
why
just
they always
so
talk about the
bizarre to
meditation
me.
stuff.
I just got my Reiki attunement, level 1 and 2 over the weekend. And as soon as it was done, I started doing Reiki on myself like right away. I couldn't like wait. I was like, I want to see if it works. And it did. I fixed my indigestion.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I am so firmly of the belief that like magic should do a thing, right? Like, magic is a study seems like a waste of time to me. Most things you can accomplish through magic are better accomplished through other means, right? Like, if you want to be famous and powerful, go to the gym, be hot. Like,
Go to the gym and be hot.
That will help you way more than any of this will.
That's so funny.
Like, objectively speaking.
Yeah. No. It's funny because you're right. The truth is always the truth's always funny.
It's like, go to college, go to a therapist. Like, yeah, if you're sick, go to a doctor. That will work better than the magic. I promise you. Both is great, but if you're not doing it to get something or to accomplish something or to do a thing, I think you just are like desperate to live Harry Potter. You know, it's like a cosplay, and I don't know if that's bad. I obviously think it's bad. I think I can barely hide the disdain in my face, but I don't know if it's wrong. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
So this is a great question, right? So what should you use magic for then? Whatever you want. That's the thing, though, right? Is it's not a should. It's who gets to decide that? You do.
I mean, like with like my Eclipse magic story earlier, like I could have just gone on Lexapro, and I'm not like endorsing not taking medication and not going to therapy and stuff.
Right.
But you could do it for like anything. Magic. I mean, there's also always an alternative option.
The way that I often think about it is like, could I do a magic ritual to turn the lights off in my room? Probably. Would the amount of effort I would have to go through to get the lights to turn off be infinitely greater than getting up and just flicking the light switch? Absolutely. I think that is a good lesson to remember in magic, especially as the pendulum of magical culture swings. We are very much in a you can do anything and everything, and all you have to do is dream style of magic, right? That happens, right? We're going to start to take the swing back to, no, magic is very limited and only for special precious people. We're not quite there yet, but that swing's going to happen soon. The bad part about where we are in that cycle of the, a cup of water and some good vibes is a magic spell, is that you do you fall into a lot of the should traps, right? Like you are supposed to do it this way, or the gods want you to do this, or contact your higher blah 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 blah, blah your new agey stuff, right? But no, that's not true. The universe doesn't give a fuck what you do. The whole point is that you get to choose. That's the point. The whole reason for the whole thing is what will you choose? Magic is just another means of getting to choose. It's a way of doing things. So what do you choose? That's what you need to focus on. And then magic follows, right? Like you'll find the ritual to do the thing that you want, because I'm certain someone else has wanted the thing before too. And if they haven't, you'll find the bits and pieces to put it together. But it really is into this question of what should you use magic for? Whatever you want. But you should use it.
Yeah,
Don't sit on it.
That should be thing is that I'm always surprised at how many people, don't know what they want. A lot of people, if anyone comes to me advice, either as a lawyer or as an astrologer, they ask me like, what I think they should do. And I ask them, what do they want? And they kind of look at me like they weren't expecting that question. And they're kind of blank for a second. And it's like, maybe you should figure that out.
Yeah,
right?
this
Because
is
if you
your
don't
life.
know what you want, then what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you getting up every day and going around and doing all this crazy shit for? Right? If you don't know what you want, like, why are you getting up and brushing your teeth and like going to work and doing all the stuff you have to do? Like, if you don't know what you want, then you got to answer that question first before you should start doing magic. I mean, it could just be, for your own interests, right? You could just be interested and want to see if you can do it. I mean, that's what gets a lot of people in. They just start, and then it says, knowing what you want is so difficult, though. When I'm at my most depressed, that's what I struggle with most.
So, I've had this problem a lot. And one of the things that I have told other people to do and do myself in this kind of a moment is your will does not need to be permanent.
Yeah.
When I'm in that kind of a state, the only thing that I really want is to stop feeling like shit. I want to like being alive again. That is a very powerful will. It is instinctual. It is a will written into your body, into every cell of your being, is to survive, is to continue, to push forward, right? So to draw particular, and I say this as someone who has very severe depression in therapy for 15 years. Yeah, like I'm not taking depression lightly here. The best advice I ever got, and I hated the advice at the time, and there's a part of me that still hates it because it's true and frustrating. But my mother very sagely once said to me in a deep, deep, deep depression, at a certain point, you have to choose to be happy. You will always find reasons to be sad. You will always find things in life that suck and are difficult and hurt. So you have to choose to be happy. And sometimes that means faking it. And at the time I thought, oh, that's so dismissive. It's not that I'm choosing to be sad. I want to be happy. And fair enough. Yep, that's true. But then there came a moment where it was, fake it till you make it is kind of real. And magic, a lot of magic, is fake it till you make it. And what I learned in that, and what became my magical practice in that way, was not I'm okay and everything's good and I'm going to pretend that I'm not depressed. It was the opposite. It was the magic I'm going to work is, even though I am depressed and I feel like this, I'm going to find joy. I'm going to continue. I'm going to persevere. I am going to find a different time in life. That is powerful magic. So, I know we've joked about it a little bit here about like using magic for mental health, but it is an option. It works. Like it is a thing.
I agree. Yeah.
You have to be careful in what you approach it with, and your will can change.
Yeah, you can overdo it like you can with anything.
Mm.
But fake it till you make it is something that, one of my first teachers taught me, and that's very true what Cooper says. I would add to that, say like, there's another saying, this is a saying my grandpa said to me. Says, if you want to go somewhere, you've got to take the road that goes there. Right? All right. Now that sounds oxymoronic and simple, but really what is that saying? It's saying like, why are you depressed? All right, maybe it's because you do all the things that a depressed person does, right? Like you sit at home, right? You don't go out, like you engage in all of the behaviors that a depressed person would, right? And now it's hard. It's like, now if you went out and you were doing a bunch of other things, right, then maybe you wouldn't feel depressed, right? It's like there's, at a certain point, like who you are basically is just like a bunch of inputs of what you do, right? And the more things you do, like that kind of on aggregate makes up a lot of who you are, right? There's like some principles people have and things like that, things that are unshakable, but for the most part, who you are and like your energy and all of that is made up of what you do and what you choose to do on a daily basis. And so, I was actually posting about this the other day that, I struggled with depression in the past, but I kind of used magic to help with this. And, if you feel down, I'll just, try and intentionally do the hard stuff, do the stuff I don't like to do, because it's like, all right, I feel depressed anyway. Why not? Right? Like, like why not? If this sucks and I don't want to do it, I already feel like shit and hate myself. So why not punish myself more and do this shit I don't want to do? Then I'll really be miserable, right? But whatever you have to tell yourself in order to get yourself to do it, right? Cast it as some self-flagellation. But if you just do the action, then the change will come, right? It's like, I'm not convinced that like the people that have functioning lives and they're like, outgoing and they, seem like this is all that different than anyone that's depressed and sitting around the house. It's just like, there's no reason why one person is the way that they are, except for they do different things, on a certain level. Like you could, like, now obviously we can't take this to the extreme and say, oh, you can just like cure all your depression by going outside and touching grass. But it's like, it does help.
Well, and to the point of like, well, people will talk about, well, I'm lonely and I can't make friends and I feel my life is directionless. Well, what have you done to change that? Have you gone to events? Have you done? And as someone who has done those things and it didn't work, again, to Alex's point, I'm not saying it's always going to work. I went to the things. I did the things, and did I make friends? Yeah, actually, I did. I was just a little bit of a prick and way too in my own head. Yeah, so I think I love the behavior thing because my number one sign of like, oh, I'm depressed or I'm getting there, is I start to do the behaviors. So it's, do I want to go to the gym? Not really. In fact, I'm gonna scream and I'm gonna pout and I'm gonna lose my fucking shit. Sometimes what I will do, especially like if I know I'm real bad, is I will put a curse on myself. So that's a fun little magic thing. Especially if you've got that Catholic, I like to hurt.
Self-flagellating, right?
I need Sky Daddy to be mad at me or I can't be good. It's still in there a
It's
little
kind
bit.
of hot.
It's look now. That's
Sorry,
concept.
continue.
Haven't found it yet. I've always end up being, because he's always like, oh, I'm so fucking. I was like, and as soon as I get there, his heels are up to Jesus, and I'm like, all right. Well, anyway.
All right, let's go to the next question.
How would you guys come into your personal niches?
How have you guys come into your personal magical niches?
Well, we did a whole episode about how I came into mine, so go watch that one. I'll leave this one to you two. We have 2 hours of me.
Well, I mean, I've
By
kind
the
of
way, go watch that. If you haven't, sorry, Alex. If you guys haven't watched that yet, go watch the episode on the Witch King. I honestly think it's one of the most interesting ones.
Yeah, it is a good episode.
Yeah,
It's the
out of
last
all
one we
6.
did before this.
Yeah, it was really,
go
really
watch it.
interesting. So go watch that. Sorry, Alex. Continue.
No, that's good. It's good to point people in that direction. I mean, for me, I think I've told my story before, but I don't know. I'm not. I think I got into. I've always liked objects, right? One of the things I'm known for is selling these talismans, these enchanted objects, and I've always felt like there's spirits in objects, and ever since I was a kid, like like the toys and the computer and all of this, they all had spirits in them, and like I felt like I could talk to them, and of course adults are like,
You still do.
No, that's just your imagination, right? And it's like, well, is it really? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that, I think that, so for example, last time I got a television was in 2007, Rahu's in Pisces, right? And it still
As it is
works
now.
to this day. I just got another television. My parents gave me another one. Both times I've gotten a television because my parents gave me one during Rahu and Pisces. Kind of funny. It's 19 years apart. But I didn't treat the TV with any particular like care, right? I didn't like take care of it well, right? I kind of treated it like shit, right? It was, it's been with me, since I was like
Still
17 years
works.
old, right?
It's it's a 17-year-old TV that works just fine.
Yeah, but it still works. And I feel like I have like things have a greater longevity if you actually like care about them, right? Like and like independent of actually doing the maintenance, just caring about it can sometimes be enough to like keep it going, right? Like this TV, it doesn't work perfectly. Like you have to like if you're gonna screw with the volume, you have to like press in on a certain side of the button or else like the fuse will change the channel instead, right? So but it works. I don't know. I think that probably that is why I make and sell these enchanted objects is because I've had this kind of lifelong fascination with objects and things that most people are willing to just throw away, kitschy things, right? Bullshit. I always find, I mean, one, I would sometimes find, is Alex a Taurus? And I have Mercury in Taurus. My descendants in Taurus. I'm Scorpio rising, but I don't know what this is. Astrologically for me, I don't know.
It's because you're an enchanter.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're playing with the Jupiter talisman. Yeah, awesome. I've got some in my pocket right now. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I love to fidget with
I am
the
a Jupiter talisman.
You are a Jupiter talisman. And we learned that in the last episode. I would say I'm still finding my magical niche. I don't have one. I am training to become a Reiki master right now, and I'm going to get my last attunement, I think, sometime next month. So that is the next thing that I'm doing since kind of doing kitschy witchcraft and starting out with planetary theurgy just because, I'm an astrologer and it's just what was in my vicinity of information. But yeah, I don't think I have a niche yet. It's still uncovering what it is that I like and what I think I want to continue doing. I'm definitely in an exploratory stage right now.
You're you're really good at like with channeling stuff and remote viewing. You got natural talent for that. Like you've been practicing that kind of stuff. I think
Right.
that's something.
Yeah.
that she's good at. Yeah.
I did a
Yeah.
thread on this, I think, ages ago. And you can cut this up however you want, but I tend to talk about like 5 types of magicians.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got your witches, yours truly, who are particularly good at manifesting abilities, thaumaturgy, things like that. And these are aspects that you don't get to choose, right? This is just what you are. Alex is on the enchanter side, which is exactly what it sounds like. Make good enchantments. Specifically, they draw out the perfect, the true characteristics of an object. So the perfection that lies within the imperfect material. Enchanters' ability is to draw that out. So it tends to be why they make better enchantments, but they also are like, to Alex's point, take good care of objects and stuff like that.
Mm.
Then you've got shamans, who are exactly what you would expect, skilled at channeling, dealing with spirits, tend to not be so great at other kinds of magics. Druids come next, which are the opposite of enchanters. So where enchanters draw the perfection within material, druids draw perfection down into the material. So they bring gods into the mortal world.
Interesting.
It's powerful but tricky. And then the last one are seers, who have the ability of prophecy. So it isn't that they see the future, it's that they define it and write it. And so I would make the argument that those 5 things are, and there may be some other ones, but they're all based around what I would call the primal magic that you're able to, that your soul has. So each of us is
Right.
able to use only one of those 5 kinds of magic. And even that limit is still true for myself, right? Thaumaturgy is always going to be how I approach magic. It should be. So how do you learn which of those 5 you would be? Well, pay me for an astrological reading that I don't offer anymore. But otherwise, look at your
Great
experience,
advice.
right? So
Yeah.
do you, to the point of this conversation, Alex, do you have an affinity to objects? Is the idea of making a talisman really appealing to you? Probably an enchanter. Follow the road. To someone like me, like a witch, magic was always a thing I can do. I can make things happen, and so that's what thaumaturgy does, right? Seers tend to have you just know what. So yes, there are these sort of little specializations. Do they really matter? Not really. Can it help you min-max though? Yeah. So
Right.
that I think is the only reason to really worry about it.
Yeah, I
And for
mean
what it
that would
matters.
that would make sense that like my primal magical, I forgot what words you use, primal magical source
Primal magic.
or
Yeah.
primal magic. Yeah, the primal magic that I would have access to would make me a shaman more naturally. It makes sense.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I'm Korean.
Well, that, and you've got a natural channeling ability, which
Yes. Yeah.
is what a
Yeah.
shaman does. So
Yeah.
it's the downside. Your origin story, unfortunately, a dime a dozen for shamans. You all walk into one goddamn magically charged space and you're walking out with spirits.
That is okay. That's
Mhm.
interesting that you say that, because that is
What you
something that
people
tends to
do.
happen to me, is get things attached to me. That's how Alex and I actually fell in love. Is that he
Yeah,
helped
because
me
I
with
was
my
like
first
getting the spirits
attachment.
off of her that she got picked up in the ruins. Yeah, and needed someone to get them off, and I got them off. So
Oprah gift.
yeah.
As I was saying.
Do you have any like recommendations on like what I can do to like improve? Because like it's at this point it's such a raw ability that I don't really know how to hone in on it or be able to have more control over it.
So that's a great question, and for shamans it's so hard because the whole point is that you don't have control. So of the 5 types of magicians, and I'll say it again.
There
So
was a question here.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
shamans,
question.
seers, witches, enchanters, and druids. Druid is the fifth one you're missing.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You're making vague assumptions, but you're not totally off, Alana. That's just more. You're a human being. Everybody likes to trip. Some people lie about it, but no. Typically, what I would look for with shamans, there'll be two elements. One, with Cooper vision. So this isn't helpful to anyone else. You people fucking stand out like sore thumbs because your souls are so. Most people's souls are like a loop, right? So there's an edge and it's caused by the soul feeding back into itself. But a shaman's immediately, I fucking know it's one of you people, because there's no loop. You're just always pushing out and out and out and out. And your soul, the edges of it, instead of being defined, are just out. And it drives me nuts. Especially shamans who haven't found a particular like familiar or a guide, whatever the term is, right? To the like a mudong, the god that comes to you and partners with you. For shamans, that's necessary. For every other type of magician, it's an option. For a shaman, it's necessary because they literally become that wall for your soul that you cannot make yourself because it is antithetical to what you are. So the primal magics are decided by your
soul.
Yeah, right. So your spirit specifically. So that whatever your nature is, right? Whatever that thing you wanted to do, your body and your soul will define that. So there is somewhat of a genetic component to it, like witches run in the family, but it isn't it doesn't work that way, right? Where like I have cousins who are enchanters, they are not witches by my definition. I have cousins who are shamans, right? But we all come from that same magical blood tree. So that's your bloodline and this are different. It's more like a class in D&D, right? If that makes sense, than
right.
an innate, but it is innate. You don't get to choose it. So how do you improve that? One, finding the daemon. Making contracts with spirits is good. The other thing for shaman, and the hard part with shamans, is until you have that partner spirit, it's so familiars, get familiars.
Yeah, that's interesting because Alex and I, we were just talking and I was asking him, because I'm watching the Magus' Bride right now. And I was
Why
like,
do you think I suggested it to you?
Is that why you suggested it to me?
A series in which
can you see my soul? Is it like outward?
You are
Does it go outward?
Correct.
Does it go outward? Oh, that's so interesting. That's cool. Yeah, Alex and I were talking, and I was like, "How do you get a familiar?" And he was like, "I think like they find you." Is that what you said, Alex? Or
usually?
Yeah, I mean, so you can there's things you can do to try and gain one according to different traditions, but a lot of times it will be they'll come to you, you'll you just kind of ask, and then it just depends. It's different for everybody. It's hard to say a rule like this. It's some people may need to go through other routes to get a familiar. Other people, they may have familiars that just come to them. It probably depends on your karma and if you've done magic. You know what I mean? So yeah, basically it depends.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. One of the things I find so fascinating about this style of magic, because it's so opposite mine. If we're to talk about the five of them, right? So seers are kind of on their own. They're weird. Because they're generally not very good at any other kind of magic, but they're really fucking good. Divination's but forcing things to happen, if they're fun. but typically it's going to be shamans and witches are against each other, and then druids and enchanters are against each other. And against here meaning opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah, yeah.
So to compare the two of us, where I have a hard time physically seeing a spirit or engaging with them in that context, but manifesting ability is making things happen the way that I want them to. Like that's very easy. Like I think about wanting to punch someone and I wish that something would happen, and then the next day he comes into work with a fucking bruise on his face because his randomly got hit in the face. Oh, what a shock. I was right where I was thinking about hitting.
Fuck, that's so cool.
It's a lot of fun. Being a witch is great, but you can understand why they burned him too. So the flip side though is that instead of me just causing bad things to happen to this person, a shaman can go like, hey, make sure that fucker gets hit in the face because I can't hit him, so you hit him. The most shamans that I know in the like outside of religious traditions use their own spirit as their familiar.
Interesting.
So that's probably what I would recommend, but you know, the religious ones are fine, and you can have more than one. It's not like you have to have just one. It's weird.
Right.
The one thing I would encourage or remind you, or any person with that affinity, is that you are not chosen to serve spirits. You're not their fucking slave, and they are happy to make you one. They're very happy to make you one. Make sure you're getting something out of it too, because they'll drain you dry and leave you with nothing and feel nothing about it.
Yeah,
because you gave it up, you offered it. Why would they feel bad? They didn't take anything from you, right? Like that's, and typically people who are shamans have that very like giving, open person, right? Because it is related to your nature. It is who you are. So it's, it is a part of that, where like that generous to a fault, or like I'm open. I don't want to, you know, like I don't want to be mean. Like shamans tend to be a lot of that kind of people.
Yeah.
And then you've got enchanters on the opposite side who are like, I want perfection in all things. Like whatever I want needs to be the best version of it. And if it isn't the best version, I'm going to make it the best version of it. And everything I do is about it. Like it's that hunt for perfection that tends to define enchanters. And then you've got witches who are all about power. I want control. I want everything to be subject to my will. Like everything should obey me. Then you've got druids who are on the flip side, where they're so obsessed with an idea of perfection that everything is about bringing it into being. They're like artists tend to fall into that category a lot, where like you know, that devote their life to an artwork and that practice that craft because they have a vision in their mind that they need to manifest. That's more the druid, where an enchanter is much more, I see the flawed material and I recognize the perfection that could come from that, right? That's that opposite. Where with shamans and witches, you've got the I want to be in control, and shamans are like, I don't want to be in control of anything. I want complete surrender. And then you've got seers who are like, I just want this one thing to happen, okay? Please just let this one thing happen. And then they cry sadly about it. I've never met a happy seer. I'm so sorry. It's fucking brutal. Like Cassandra's curse is real. Apollo hates you all. Like, I'm so sorry. But you are always sad and you are always frustrated. But that thing you've always been working for, it does.
The one thing, yeah.
What? You do get it. You do get it, baby. But yes, that's how that tends to go. So hopefully that makes sense for you all. And if it doesn't, throw it on the other pile of crazy shit Cooper says.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the little lesson there, because yeah, I'm new to all this. So
yeah.
Okay, how do you know when a planet is speaking to you?
Your brain feels like it's going to explode.
That's true, actually. Yeah, you're like, fuck, this is too much.
Yeah, it's like you almost feel like you're going to die. And then you kind of wish that you just would so that your head would stop hurting. And then it all kind of just, you forget everything, but then it suddenly makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Maybe that's more invoking one, talking to one. I don't know. I'll leave this to one of you two because I'm
I mean, so depends on how we're going to interpret this, right? So we can interpret this like how a planet's speaking to you. Like you could look for signs that some kind of entity or spirit or planetary force like this is trying to give you omens, right? Coincidences that happen, things like that. You could look at it and it's like a planet's trying to give you a message that way, right? So, that's one way people do it. Other people actually no, they're gonna, cast a magic circle and say all the right words and invoke the spirit and then be able to ask it questions, right? Then you can, that's one of the grimoires is full of that, is right, how to do that. So then that's a whole other question about like how do you know angel numbers could that so I don't know. I don't know how to feel about angel numbers. I'm not going to I'm neutral on angel numbers.
They definitely occur.
I like the idea of angel numbers. That's how I feel about it. Like, do I take them seriously? No. Do sometimes they happen to work out where I'm like, that's a very interesting message for me to send at 11:11 or something like that. Yeah. I've definitely had that happen, but I don't think planets talk to people. So
yeah,
that would be my response. Did you petition it? If not,
I just tried to interpret it as broad as I could with planet that they may mean spirit or something else, some other entity,
Yes.
So I was like trying to interpret it as broadly as possible. But no, the planets, you have to go out of your way to get their attention so that they'll pay attention to you, right? Like that's the whole point of doing the magic, to invoke them, right? Is that otherwise they're not going to be concerned with you, right? Unless you do magic in order to get them to pay attention, right?
There are 9 billion of you fucking monkeys on that rock. You better stand out, baby. There's 9 billion.
Yeah, it's your problem. Like, if you wanted to do like magic, I remember this is something that Austin Kopic said it was Caitlin Kopic. I'm sorry. She was saying that invoking your ancestors to do something for you, or like to ask them to do something for you, is going to be way easier than invoking like a planet. Asking a planet to send down a daemon or something to do something for you, because the ancestors, like no one, like everyone's asking for Jupiter to come down and help them with money or help them with whatever it is, right? But your ancestors, it's just your bloodline who have access to them. So I think that like just the concept of like sometimes it's easier to get the job done with someone with a spirit that's closer to you.
I just wish this man would come out of the closet. Sorry. I just saw a post. Lovely man, went to high school with him. He is so very gay, but he comes from a family where that can't happen. He's the youngest brother, and as we all know, the lower down you are in birth order, the more likely you are to be gay. So firstborn homosexuals, rise up. You're the best. You're pure bloods. We're the best. But youngest, you're a statistical inevitability. So anyway, it just stresses me out because all he does is post pictures shirtless with other gay men who are also in the closet and pretend that they're not gay. And I know that they're all gay because I'm on the apps, and
you've seen them on the apps.
I've known a couple of them biblically, so I know who those men are that you're strangely with all the time, and you're real closeted, and he won't even tell his friends. But I'm not trying to be anything about it. But here he's posting fucking shirtless with 3 other dudes all hugging each other, talking about how we can't wait for the summer. I can't wait to be with my boys again. Okay, well, you're
I mean,
34, gorgeous.
it's almost kind of become in vogue again to like, do gay stuff, but then deny being gay, like where you're just
Oh,
like,
he was in the Navy,
it's
Alex.
like, yeah, it's like the don't ask, don't tell. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I was going for. Like that's making a comeback. So
Send it to hell.
The Koreans are really good at doing that. At being the men will be very gay with each other. So gay. And then it's like watching yaoi sometimes. Just like, wow.
But they never actually fuck, which is so stressful.
Yeah, they never actually. It's just so stressful. Yeah. I'm sure it is.
It's very upsetting to me. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just saw it and I was like, this is the gayest photo I've ever seen. Why are you wearing a pink fanny pack?
He's wearing a pink fanny pack?
Yes, because he
my
wants cock in his
gosh.
fanny 24/7.
Right.
Ugh, I'm so sorry. I've told his
Poor
friends
guy.
about my
I mean, I
theory,
don't
and they
know
were
how people are like, allowing pictures like that to be taken of them if they're, closeted.
he's the
but,
one who
like,
took it. He
I know.
posted it.
Maybe he did come out, Cooper, and you missed it.
No, because none of his friends know. I brought it up to his friends.
I'm here for Cooper's gossip too.
So one of his best friends. So sorry, my best friend's husband is his best friend, right? So I sat down with them and I was like, "You all know he's gay, right?" And he was like, "No, what are you talking about? He would tell me that." Like I was like, "No, he wouldn't." First of all, and secondly, and so I can't say names here, but my friend's husband was like so hurt because he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe like he wouldn't come out to me. Like, why wouldn't you tell me this? Like, like I'm a safe person. I would never treat him badly." I was like, "It's not about you. It's about his brothers." And he was like, "Oh yeah, his brothers would never forgive him. Like they would tear him apart. Like it'd be horrible." And I was like, "Right. So once his dad dies, he'll come out. But until then, he's never gonna do it." And then his friends like I walked them through all of the evidence and they were like, "Oh, he's actually gay." And I was like, "Yeah, he's
They couldn't
actually
unsee
gay."
it. Yeah.
Well, and so the whole struggle of it was I was like, "Oh, I want to fuck him. Like I would definitely want to top him. Like 10 out of 10. I want to make that man a
Oh my
man."
God.
And they were like, "He's not gay. Why would you say that?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, he is. Please don't ever come to me and tell me that person isn't gay because one, I'm psychic, so pretty good at this. 2,
I'm psychic.
degenerate homosexual. I love turning out straight men. I think I think it's funny. I love.
Oh my God, that is
feel
so gay witch of you to do. That's so gay witch of you to do.
Look, they're easy. Straight boys are easy. Oh, you pay him one compliment, and the pants come right off. It's shameful. But the point was, I did an interview with him once, and I was like, "Oh, you're gay." Like instantly, because I put the mic on, and when you mic up a straight man, he'll bet when you're another man, right? And I'm a big man, right? I'm 6'1", 220 pounds. Like I'm a big man. So
yeah.
when I come
You're
up
like
with
a
the
rugby
microphone
player.
on you, yeah, you're gonna like every single man will instinctively just put a little space between us, except for the gay ones who will slightly lean in. And as I'm making them up, wouldn't you know, we lean in, and I'm like, "Are you trying to have sex with me?"
Oh my God,
but you can do that. So I ran every story he ever wanted. You just call me baby. You finna be on the news. So none of this is relevant to anything. But in case you all did not know that I am a rabid horn dog, you learned something new. And that is on being a Taurus sun.
I think we all knew that, Cooper. I think
you two knew that for sure.
Also, your sun is in the 5th house. You're a horny man.
Yeah, 5th house placements too.
I also have Mars sextile the moon.
Isn't your Venus like what is it again? Like maximum
19 Aries, yeah.
19 Aries, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, Venus Aries too. Yeah, we're a different breed. The Taurus suns with Venus and Aries.
The best breed.
And we are the best breed.
I mean, yeah, we all have Venus and Aries. Venus and Aries Yeah.
This is a problematic channel.
That's true.
Yeah, can't you tell we've all got Venus in Aries?
I love it. I love the drama. I think it's so like fun.
It's hard to guess the folks watching here are also probably pretty heavily either
Yeah.
Scorpio Venus or Aries. Yeah. Maybe a couple
Yeah,
Virgos.
yeah.
Definitely in
There's
detriment.
For sure,
Yeah.
some detriment shit going on. But see, like Kid Mixit says, "Oh my god, me too."
See, I assume if you follow me, either your moon or your Venus are really debilitated. Like, there's no, you should not engage with me if you have like a dignified moon. I'm gonna make you cry, like,
That
for
makes me
sure.
cry.
You've had too good of a life to talk to someone like me. Like, craziness. See, we got a Taurus Venus. We got a good one here. Venus in Leo is crazy. That's, I don't know about that. I make such good friends with Venus Leos, but I could never be with one.
I like
love
Virgo
Venus
Venus.
too.
Virgo
Yeah,
Venus.
your favorite is Virgo Venus.
I was gonna
Alex.
say
You
a
love it.
lot of my friends are Virgo Venuses.
That makes
But I
sense.
guess a Jupiter, yeah.
Isn't your Jupiter? Yeah, right. Jupiter's in Virgo. That makes sense. I have a lot of Libra friends, and my Jupiter's in Libra. So
I fucking hate Libra, but I have so many Libras in my life. It's most of my close friends are Libras.
I remember, speaking of astrology, Ascendant on Twitter was wanting me to talk about like the financial stuff and astrology going on right now, and like if I could speak to anything like that. Apparently, like before we went live, there's like some bank has announced that they are going under. There's been like a bank failure. So
bank
yeah,
failure.
yeah. I'm trying to find the name of the bank, but apparently this just happened today. We are entering into like a repeat of the Rahu and Aquarius.
Shit.
What? Everything all right?
Yeah. No. I'm just reading it. It's a Metropolitan
Oh,
Capital
yeah.
Property Trust in Chicago.
Yes. So Rahu and Aquarius.
One of us share it on the screen.
Tropical signs. This is often associated with these recessions and bank crashes, right? There's also this Uranus cycle where roughly because Uranus is a 84-year orbit, so half a Uranus cycle is like 42 years, and so we're coming up in resonance with the 1987 crash, right? And there's just several things that are lining up to show turbulence. I think that we're going to continue to see things are going to be like choppy, right? They always follow the same pattern, right? Where there's been this bull market, and then things sell off, and then everyone goes in to buy the dip, and then it goes higher, and then I think it's actually maybe next quarter it goes down. Although it could, if things go really badly, over the next few days with this full moon, then that's a different story, right? Like then, yeah, I think that the astrology we're in right now has the potential to be kind of rough. I mean, I made the prediction. We've seen a lot of stuff happening with the war, threats being made, sabers being rattled between Trump and Iran and Israel, people positioning their ships, leaking disinformation. Things are heating up. I hope nothing bad happens, but basically, I think the financial situation, I think it's really in any time, but my intuition says it's not going to happen quite yet, that the crash is like still to come. So do with that what you will, but that's my take on it. I don't think we're gonna have like the major crash until probably the second quarter, maybe after these eclipses. Um,
I
yeah,
mean, in regards to like mundane astrology in general, I'm sure maybe not everyone in the chat is aware, but we do have 8 outer planets, and Jupiter basket configuration happening in the summer. I think it might be June, actually, June or July. The last time that happened was, I think, in like the 1500s. It's
yeah, it was a
it was
wider orb, yeah, but it
yeah,
did happen.
it was like with it, the events that seemed to coincide with that basket configuration was the Renaissance. But it was also like the beginning of European imperialism. Next one's happening this year. I mean, not that imperialism is anything new, right? It's been happening forever. But
Yeah, there is a sense of like uh, there's going to be this rising tide but is it going to lift all the ships, right?
yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So maybe some people's ships will be lifted and other people's won't. Just like how it always is. But I don't think that it's anything to panic about yet. I think we can still. The important thing to remember is that, we can change things, right? We don't have to be. Things are not just. Why is my voice? Why can't I say this?
Someone's trying to stop you from saying it.
Someone's trying to stop me from saying that you you can control your reality, right? You can change your fate. It's not all completely predetermined, right? And we need to have hope. And like, I think that people are waking up, and a lot more people are just like, they're just not being caught in the black magic spectacle that is, so much of what we see in the media and
Yeah.
what governments say and what corporations say and all of this. People are waking up, really. I really do think more people than ever. Like it's going to become harder and harder to lie, and like that's why we're seeing them. They're not even lying anymore. They're not even bothering to lie. Like they're just doing stuff. So it's like mask off time. That's what we've got. I wish I could give a more cheery forecast, but basically, yeah, I think it will get worse. Like, this period coming up really does seem rough. I think if we can get through this period that we're in now and the eclipses without a huge disaster, that would be great. Because it's, yeah, but I mean, I don't think so. I don't see I don't think there's going to be like a nuclear war. I don't think that's. I mean, that's like.
Even if there were, I think people like, so civilization collapse is a thing, right? Societies collapse all the time. Empires collapse all the time. The US is in a moment of imperial collapse. Like that is period. Does that mean the American empire will end? No. I actually think that's a ridiculous assumption. Part of the reason that I've stopped doing political predictions is because I don't have anything good to say about this. Somebody was very excited about some of these transits, and then I went back and looked at the history, and I was like, sure, I get why you're excited if you don't know anything about history. Like if you only ever took a high school history class and that was like your intro to world history, I bet you would be excited about this. If you know anything about the astrological trends that we have going on right now and what happened historically speaking, you probably wouldn't be so excited. Neptune in Aries is fucking horrible. I know people are like, oh, it was the Renaissance and the Renaissance was cool. Was it? Was it? What happened during the Renaissance? Do you know? I think a lot of people don't, right? Because they think what happened in Florence is what happened across Europe in the Renaissance, and it's not. The reason that we focus on the Italian Renaissance is because it was the good part. Everywhere else was a complete fucking shit show. It's the majority of the Protestant Reformation is taking place. Then early Protestantism is coming into place. It's a lot of determinism. It's a lot of violence. It's a lot of the centralization of state power. It's a lot of creating the narratives of rulership that would go on to justify absolute monarchy, which did not exist prior to that point in history. It is the downfall of like folk culture. It's the end of the localized Catholic Church. It's the end of folk saints. It's rough. And then the other period that people like to point to, and I forget which planet it is, I believe it's Pluto. They were talking about like, oh, Pluto's in the same place that the American Revolution was at. And I'm like, that's fun. Do you know very much about what happened in the United States after the American Revolution? You want to know a fun little thing that like went super crazy? It's a fun thing called slavery. Because the British didn't like slavery. And they kind of tolerated it here because, you know, it's a step away from them, right? It's the dirty colonists. And as soon as the dirty colonists were free from British rule, we doubled down on slavery. We imported more slaves in the 10 years after British rule than all of the slaves that had been brought over to the United States during British rule. In 10 years, we brought over more human beings forcibly in capture than over the 100 years that the British occupied North America, right? In 10 years, we brought in more. That then doubled the following 10 years and doubled again the following 10 years. So, yay, American Revolution, except yay, the beginning of chattel slavery is actually what happens, right? It's anyone who like looks at these history epics with these trends is just like, it's great and it's going to be good for people. I'm like, I know you've never read a history book. I know you've never touched a primary fucking source document in your life because these are rough times. Do I think we're going to be bartering for eggs? No, but that's because I think there won't be fucking eggs to barter for. I do think the American empire will fall short of total collapse. The capitalist class is just too dynamic. I think this is one of the bigger challenges the capitalist class has encountered. I don't think they really thought they could control Trump, right? Like if what I'm saying doesn't make sense, the just being the real rich people who you don't even know exist were very much like, nah, we can keep him in line. Like this will be fine. And he will open the door to deregulation, which is what we want. Turns out they were wrong and that didn't go very well. And I can even attest to that because my job for 2 years was working for companies who initially backed Trump and then were like, oh, fuck, we actually can't control him. How do we stop this? And paid a lot of money to different research firms to come up with answers. And all of our answers were, you let the genie out of the bottle. Like, you let it ride its course. Now we're in fascism times now, baby. It goes for about 5 years and it burns out if you're lucky.
So, the thing is, I've been talking about this thing on Twitter, which is like, the kind of quiet part that, astrologers aren't really saying out loud, is that back in 2023, I noticed like, I was looking out for people about like 5 years in the future. And I saw a lot of people having long distance moves, international moves, right? And like, all cluster around 2027, 2028, 2029. And it's was got to be like, you know, I've given a lot of readings, and a lot of times a lot of times I bothered to look out that far. It's like they're moving, you know, it's happening for my chart, it's happening for people that I know in my life, you know, it's like, so it's like, what happens that, why are we all deciding to get it the fuck out, right? That's the $1,000,000 question, right? And so, you know, how bad could it be? Well, you might decide to go, right? So, I mean, I don't know if I want to say more than that, right? I mean, I feel like that speaks for itself, really, right? Like, you know, think about how, yeah. Someone says, how do we know? What do you mean? I'm not sure what that means in this context.
I think how do you know whether you're going to move? I think that's the question.
Oh, in the chart. Yeah, that's too much to get into right now. Yeah.
9th house, 11th house,
12th house.
rough planets in the 4th, maybe, potentially, depending on why you're moving, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we have been going
How do
about
we
2
know if
hours.
this
I think
is-
we said we wanted to do about 2 hours, right? We
Yeah.
didn't. There's a few more questions, but I mean, yeah, I think I'm getting kind of tired. What do you guys feel like? Do you want to stay on for a little bit longer, or should we wrap it?
Why don't we take this last bit and then we'll call it here. You know, what are we looking in terms of travel transits, right? So obviously 9th, 11th houses are going to be involved. I would look to the Lord of your 9th house, probably is more important to me than even what's going on in the 9th house itself. Anything involving Mercury and the Lord of the 11th tends to point to like a really long travel, and then the 9th would be a very far travel. So if you've got both of this going on, you're probably going to move very far away. But these two probably have better answers than that.
Well, I have a long distance permanent move coming up really soon. And I think that the transits that have triggered it for me have been 3rd house transits. 3rd house and 12th house too, I guess. I am also in my 9th house year. So yeah, to Cooper's point, the 9th house is getting activated. But also the 12th and 3rd house for me. It's like I've been perfecting from my moon, which I believe is like the primary Gochara Vedic technique in terms of like transits. That does work really well, especially when targeting like eclipses and stuff or like major transitory events. But there's an eclipse happening in 3rd from my 3rd. Yeah, 3rd from in a 3rd house. And yeah, that's coinciding right when I'm supposed to be moving. So there's that. What else is being activated for me? I have to see.
There's other things that you can, if you're looking just to, you always want to look, and the more indicators you find that line up, the more likely the prediction is, right? So you just look at all these
Yes.
different things. Other things you can do is like Uranus making a hard aspect to the moon, especially if it does like a triple pass to the moon when it goes and does that the final time. A lot of times the person will move. A lot of times unexpectedly they'll have to move. May not necessarily be like a far distance move. You have to look at other things. But that one I've seen also when if the progressed moon is in the 4th sign from the natal moon, then and there's also other moon activation in the transit chart. A lot of times that means that they can move far away from their home. All right, so You know, there's a few different ones to look at there for moving. Yeah, but you basically just look for as many different ones as you can find, and then the more you have, the more likely it is. A lot of times, if it's a significant move, you'll see it. Like you can look at for the solar return. There's other techniques you can do with that. You know, I'm not as I can't remember the solar return techniques for moving off the top of my head. I haven't been using them as much of late, but you know,
I
lots
mean, I
of
looked
stuff.
at the 12th house, 12th, 3rd, yeah, 12th and 3rd, and see what's going on there at 9th in the solar
And
return
if it's
chart.
not obvious why we would pick those houses, third is the house of like immediate travel. It's your nearby circumstances. It's daily travel, right? Stuff you encounter regularly. Ninth house is
Like
then
your
the opposite of that.
neighborhood too. It's like the one
Mhm.
neighborhood you live in.
Yeah, commuting to work is as I would often think about like the third house. Um, and then the ninth house then is the opposite of that. So it's far travel, it's long travel. It's sometimes it's distance. It can also be time, right? Far there. It might also be unusual, like going to another town can be a ninth house travel if you don't travel a lot. Um, and the 12th house being unexpected, its changes, its alterations in life. I would sometimes will look at the 11th house as well because it's your community. So if typically if I see a big alignment between like the lords of the ninth and the 11th, and then like an aspect to the moon or toward Mercury, to me that would be like, okay, you're definitely going to move, and it's a good move. If the Lord of the Ninth and the Lord of the 11th are in conflict, yet there's still an aspect to like Mercury or the moon, I would be like, okay, it's going to be a move, but it's going to be a shitty move. So that's why, you know, to Alex's original response to this question, it's complicated. Because it doesn't just tell you whether or not you're going to move, it's what kind of move. How will it affect your life? Sometimes moving is bad. And it will show up as a really negative aspect, even though you might be really excited about the move and the change. The stars are like, oh, girl, that might not be so good. An anecdote here. One of my friends, I did his solar return, and I was like, I guess you're gonna fucking randomly quit your job and move across the country. Like that seems wrong. And knowing him, I was like, that's impossible. Like he's such a fastidious, like has everything planned 10 years before he does it kind of guy. Like that just was so out of place, but all of the signs were there, right? Like the 9th and the 11th were aligned, the moon was there. In the solar return, it was that month, and it was the ninth house lord was being activated by the moon, and I was like, yeah, you're gonna move. That's fucking crazy. Lo and behold, on the exact month I predicted, he and his new girlfriend decided to move back to her hometown in Arizona. He dropped everything, quit his job. There you go.
Wow.
And to the effect, that was also what was in the chart, that it would be like sudden and crazy. So travel is one of those hard things that I think like, is actually advanced astrology. I don't know. That's my hot take.
I agree. I think it's advanced astrology.
But that's all our questions tonight. So
Yeah,
thank you all
yeah.
so much for chatting with us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We had a
Yeah.
great time answering your questions. We will have more guests. We'll be announcing them. We've had some problems with rescheduling, but we're hoping that I think both of the people that rescheduled are going to actually come on. So we will.
Yeah, the first one was sick, and the second one is just super
Yeah.
busy. So I think they will come back. Yeah, we will be able. We are going to reschedule them. One of them we already have rescheduled for February. I think the second week of February, but that's only for you guys to know for now. I'm not going to publicize that just yet. But yeah.
Oh yeah, we were also thinking that we were going to just start streaming on YouTube and not stream on X anymore. I know we have some people that are commenting from Twitter or X tonight, and like we were thinking, I've just been reading that it's better to concentrate on one platform for streaming, and so we were going to announce that, yeah, this is the last show we're going to actually simulcast on Twitter, so we'll be on YouTube. So if you want to watch the show, come to YouTube. Yeah, I'll post. We'll all post about it.
You'll still
remind
see
you guys.
promos and everything on Twitter, so
Yeah.
you just have to click a different
Yeah,
link.
yeah. You just have to click the link.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do think a Reiki episode needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because I know, Hope, you
agree.
were talking about you've been getting into Reiki a lot more. And one of the kings, I'm so proud of her. She finally got her husband into magic. She's going to his first Reiki session. Then he's obsessed. Like, he loves it. He's all about
Nice.
it.
Nice.
So proud
Good
of
for her. That is
Yep.
not an easy feat to open a man's mind up to magic.
An autistic Midwestern man.
Oh wow.
Mhm. So when I talk about divine snapper, the king's got it. Divine snapper.
I don't know. Midwestern people can be kind of superstitious, though. You know?
To be
It's
fair,
like-
most of the magical people that I know are from the Midwest. So I
it's
understand
interesting.
I'm also from the Midwest, but like,
yeah,
it's a spooky place.
it is. It's like one of the most haunted places. It's like more haunted in the Midwest than in other parts of the country.
Way more.
Like, yeah, even like, especially when you adjust for population and like how many people have lived and how many people have died on the East Coast, and then you compare like the hauntings. Yeah, it's just like there's something cursed about the Midwest. We just have all these.
Probably
hauntings.
could be all of those, I don't know, genocides that took place here. They might have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Are the Appalachian Mountains in the Midwest?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah.
No,
that's-
they see what they did is they pushed all of those indigenous people over here, and then we killed them over here. And then we
I
put them on
see.
reservations after that.
I see.
So that's why Minneapolis is how it is. If you don't follow my Twitter, I won't let you follow it. Sorry. So hopefully you were there already. But I've talked quite a lot about I've lived in Minneapolis, went to school there for many, many years, have a deep love for it. And the ley lines there are pretty brutal. If you don't know, there was one of the early, so Hitler based the concentration camps on American treatment of indigenous people and what we did to them, and we put them in camps. And so one of those camps was at Fort Snelling, which is outside of Minneapolis. There's a ley line that flows from the Basilica of St. Mary, outside of which there is a statue to Louis Hennepin, who was a French explorer and conqueror who conquered Niagara Falls and then later St. Anthony Falls, which is in Minneapolis. And absolutely decimated the indigenous populations there. He went there specifically to subjugate and control the indigenous populations. So it is not at all a coinkydink that Minneapolis happens to be the epicenter of this particular conflict, because it is echoing the history of that place and those lines, and I could talk about that endlessly. So there's lots
Yeah,
of,
it's always
lots
we
of
always
magical
have to have a few history segments with Cooper on a stream. It's not a good stream without at least 5 history lessons from
that was
Cooper.
good. Yeah.
If you don't want to learn random facts, do not invite autistic men to be on your show, because all I have is quirk and fun facts. So if you don't like those two things, find another talent, baby. There's a lot of them out there. White boys are not in short supply.
No, I love the history lessons.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's really fitting what you were saying about Minneapolis. I didn't know that, but that's like, yeah, that's crazy.
It maps. So the ley line that I mapped it in 2023. All of the murders that have taken place in Minneapolis during the ICE imposition have occurred along the ley line.
I know they're all clustered right along.
Yeah, they're
each other.
so the ley line that I mapped 3 years ago, and at the time I was like, because I lived along it, and I was like, why is my magic so fucked? Like, why do I feel so? I'm drowning in negativity. Like, it's overwhelming, and I'm a pretty good magician, so like, even so, I shouldn't be. These are the fun facts. They're fun facts to me. Fun is in interesting, not as in good. But yeah,
These
so then
are
I
the
did.
fun facts.
It's more fun than fucking babies for magical power. Like, yeah. So anyway, maybe if we have another cancellation, fucking God forbid, I will yap endlessly about the horrifying magical history of Minneapolis. But if you don't know, it is one of the most magically active cities in the United States. We have a huge paganism conference. It is one of the largest pagan cities in the entire United States is in Minneapolis. So there's a ton of magic, ton of occultism, a ton of practitioners there.
Wait, do we have an episode planned? Because if we don't, we should. This is topical. Minneapolis. Should we do an episode on Minneapolis? 3 of us.
Maybe.
We could
It's
wait
topical. Yeah, I mean, would
Yeah.
you guys be interested
But
in
I mean,
that?
we don't want to trivialize what's happening either. It's like, I don't know. Like, we gotta, yeah, maybe.
Put it offline.
Yeah.
But
But
if
I'm
the chat
happy
is
to walk
interested,
through the
let us
energy
know.
map of it. That part I think would be interesting.
Yeah,
But-
this energy map sounds cool. I'm intrigued by this. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Sorry, I've been a little bit off. Anyway, I've been.
It's late o'clock, my friends.
It's past
Late
midnight
o'clock.
for me. Yeah. But yeah, I'm Alex, and I've been joined by Hope and Cooper. Love doing the show with you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And
Awesome.
stay tuned. We'll announce more stuff, and we should be back next week, and we'll have a great show for you. All right.